Legionnaires of the Lariat, welcome back to I Still Call It a Lariat. Welcome. We are doing today the 2025 WWE Royal Rumble. Guys, don't get mad at me for taking too much long during this segment. Let me introduce my two co-hosts. We have the one, the only, Hound. And my tag team partner, we got the one and only stevezapf. How's it going today, fellas?
I'm doing well, man. How are you today? You look fantastic as always.
Shucks.
Really good beer.
It was doing really good earlier. It's starting to get a little straggly. It's late, put a couple kids down to bed, and who knows what happens next.
Got to do it. I am also doing well. I do want to apologize to Legion. We are going a little late on the content right now just because I'm in the middle of a major move, and unfortunately, part of that is the studio that I. So I apologize, guys, but this is partially professional as well.
It's got to be done.
Got to be done.
But we'll sprinkle in a little things that may have happened on Raw today. A couple things here and there, but mostly we're going to talk about the 2025 Royal Rumble. Overall, were you guys happy? Were you sad? Was it meh? What are you guys thinking? Hound?
So not to go into, because we're going to discuss everything about it, but
just overall.
Overall, I was quite happy with the show in general. I was I was quite happy with the surprises that occurred, and I was very happy that a name was said and he appeared, and so yeah, it was a good time, man. It was a better Royal Rumble. I thought it was at least the men's one was the most story filled. Goodbye, avocado. The most story filled Royal Rumble I had seen in years.
What's your initial take, Steven?
I like this year's. I really like this year's. Actually, there's a few things that I'm less than thrilled about, but overall, this was a pleasurable show. Like, this was good. I think they shocked everybody with the men's winner, and I think there was a couple other shocks in there too that they threw in for us. So, kind of what the Royal Rumble's supposed to be, right?
Like the women's winner?
No.
No, not like that at all.
No.
Overall, it was a good Rumble. I will say, as we got closer, I started getting really excited for it. And I don't know why. It hasn't happened in a while where I was getting amped for one. And I feel like I started pushing the expectations a little bit too high. So that's on me. It was a solid card. It was a solid Royal Rumble from head to toe. The men's one was fantastic, except for a couple little things here and there. So I can't complain. But as we did the predictions, the only person that got this one right was Hound because he took the easy route. For the person who always goes out on a limb, takes the real easy route this time. But as we get into it, we'll talk a little bit about how we got into this and how we started. We made a lot of predictions. We won't go into every one of our predictions here. This one started out actually quite surprisingly for me with Liv and Io, given that I literally picked Liv as the number 30 spot. When she came out number 1, I was like, or number 2. I was quite surprised. We haven't reviewed a Rumble before. Let me just pepper you guys with a couple questions. What was your favorite part of the Rumble?
Just speaking on the women's Rumble right now, or
yeah, we're just talking women's Rumble.
I know Steve and I are both going to agree on this, but it was definitely the return of Little Miss Bliss.
Absolutely the return of Alexa Bliss.
That's fair. I was trying to think of something more in ring, but you guys are 100% right. Alexa Bliss coming back was fantastic. I've been waiting for her the entire time I've been doing this show. I feel like how many times have I said, Steve, so when's Alexa coming back? Because I feel like she's one of the last people I remember as I really tuned out of wrestling, what feels like forever ago. How about in match? We were talking about this before. Who did the best? Who did you think stood out the most in this Rumble?
Well, I think I believe that I had picked her to be in the first two. I can't remember, or I might have changed it. But Roxanne Perez, she
Yeah.
made a statement. She did really well. Anybody who she had interactions with in the ring, it went well. I adored Chelsea Green in the Rumble. Um, I half called how she was going to get eliminated. Piper
But
eliminated her, but it was accidental.
accidental, and it wasn't the shortest. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it's Chelsea Green is so awesome. Chelsea Green stuff was really good in there, and Roxanne Perez had an incredible showing. I was actually surprised at the weak showing from Julia.
I think this isn't the setting for Julia right now. Truthfully, I'm not knocking her as a talent. I think Julia is incredibly talented, but English, and this is still her second language. This is a lot of stuff going on all at once, and the Rumble is kind of known for you doing your like quick 30 seconds to a minute as soon as you get in the ring, and then kind of going off to a corner. And I don't think that's made for Julia. And that's not a knock on her. She's just not made for this match currently.
That's probably my biggest critique of the Women's Rumble. I didn't notice it as prevalent in the Men's Rumble, but I feel like the Women's Rumble is always very formulaic. New person comes out, does a bunch of fancy moves, gets out of the way. New person comes in, does a bunch of fancy moves, moves to the side. I feel like the Men's Rumble, they do it a little bit more subtly, and then like you kind of disperse it, and people come in and out. It's a little bit more interwoven than Women's one. It comes off a little bit more choreographed. I feel like, and that's something I critique a lot because it does have that formula too. I will say, you brought up Chelsea Green. I like that they gave her a couple eliminations. That really jumped out, and like how excited she gets when she tosses somebody out. I would have liked to have seen her and Piper team up more, because I felt like as soon as like Piper got in, Chelsea was essentially out, and I would like to have seen Chelsea almost helping Piper to try to get Piper to win, because she already has a title. So like kind of do that juxtaposition. But at the same time, I know that's not her style, but I thought it'd been a cool little story beat there. And who are you most disappointed in? Is someone that like outside of God?
So I don't know if I'm disappointed in her. I actually had her.
Bad.
I had her on the list of on our pick for shortest, and that was Zoe Starks. And I can't tell if I'm really impressed with the amount of athleticism that she has, or a little disappointed with the fact that it always seems like she slips up a little bit, and her athleticism saves her. So I'm like torn on that one, because we saw it with the ladder match where she like brained herself. We saw it with this match where she slipped off the springboard, and the only thing that's kind of saving her is the fact that she's such a good athlete that she's I don't want to say it covers up, but she still manages to do something with it. So I don't know if I'm impressed with it, or you keep doing it now. We need to stop seeing you do this stuff.
Well, two things can be true simultaneously there, and that's really what it is, because it is impressive. It is certainly a skill, maybe a little bit of luck attached to it, and to know that, okay, in a moment she can kind of cover some stuff up, but at the same point, I need this to become the exception and not the rule.
I think that's where I'm at, Hound. It's because it's becoming a little bit more prevalent in what she's doing. I think she's overextending herself on stuff and trying maybe too much at once.
Possibly. I mean, we talked about it on our shows many times when we talk about some of the newer talent, how you get happy feet. And I think she's got a real bad case of happy feet a lot. And her mind gets 3 spots ahead of where she is. And it becomes a little bit of a jumble.
I could see that. And like I said, both those things are probably true, that I'm I'm impressed that she's able to have that athleticism to still keep her balance or still keep going at times. But like you said, Hound, this needs to start being the exception rather than the rule. And it could also be the fact that we just don't really see Pure Fusion Collection that often. So when they're out there, we don't see them. They're not out there enough, and then this
happens. I definitely think that the Pure Fusion Collective had a strong showing here. So like that was fun to see them kind of come out. But you're right. I'm with Hound. I think both things could be simultaneously right. I think some of these younger ones, I always give what's her face, Valkyria always a little bit of guff because I feel like all of her stuff feels a little bit overly choreographed, and that's her way of combating that, like trying to get 3 steps ahead, this sort of thing. Do you guys? I'm curious your take. What do you guys think about Nia eliminating half of the ring simultaneously?
I think Nia needed a moment like that because whether we think that she is super talented in the ring, I mean, as long as she's not doing a her and Karana, it should be all right. But lately, like she is the monster of the women's division, and every Rumble she's in, you have that one spot where everybody gangs up on her and she throws everybody off.
Whoa.
But that fast elimination, she essentially pulled the Jacob Fatu spot that you said, where it's like he's going to eliminate 4 people with 2 other people simultaneously. Yeah. But she needed something like that. I think.
Steven?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's that pretty much summed up my point, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Nia is like Hound said, she is the monster of the division, even more so than like Piper or anyone else. So I think she needs to be that spot. I mean, a bigger monster could be the argument for a bigger monster could be made for Charlotte at this point.
Well, let's hold that one, and we'll get to that one in a minute. I'm surprised by both of you, mostly you, Steve. I thought you were going to give that more grief. I absolutely love that. Like, I love that she has, like, Rumbles seem to be her thing, and that was always like a bigger monster sort of match, and like this leaning true to this, I think actually elevates her in a big way. So, you guys stole my thunder. I didn't expect you were going to answer that question that way at all. Thanks, guys.
Well, I mean, even other big man or big woman wrestlers that come in a lot of times, even if they're not doing anything else, storyline or anything else, in the Rumble, they always have that thing. Like Andre, even at the end of his career, wasn't doing anything. Earthquake towards the end wasn't really doing much else, but in the Rumble, it was like, or Yoko. Oh, now it's going to take 17 guys to throw this one person out.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry, you made me lose my train of thought there, Stephen. Okay, let's go to that's what I was gonna say. Sorry. So Saturday Night Main Event, ultimate heat killer, in my opinion. Like, that's where I think really nail in the coffin for Nia, for her to need this. Io Sky, another one. You get like real strong, clean wins over the main competition, and I feel like deflates them as much as humanly possible. And I think that's why like Nia needed something like that, because after losing the title and then losing to Rhea just flat out, this was something that needed to go down that route. Now, everyone's favorite winner, Charlotte Flair. How you guys feeling?
So Charlotte is undeniable in her talent, and I'm kind of digging this new character because she's starting to come up with her own little limousine ride and jet flying. She's starting to have her own little sayings there, it's going to be cool because I'm waiting for that to really catch fire and see the female fan base starting to say that, and using it kind of like a rallying cry for them. I think it'll be really cool, and it'll at the very least it'll be an interesting experiment to see if it will land well. I'm hopeful that it will. But I mean, there is that running gag of Charlotte wins lol. She doesn't need it. But if you're going to have the first 2-time Rumble winner, it's kind of got to be her at this point. Like, they weren't going to give it to Roxanne, and I'm really glad it wasn't Nia. So when we started getting towards the end and Nia threw everybody out of the ring simultaneously, there wasn't really an argument to be made for anybody else. Maybe Bayley, but Bayley won last year.
And it's a real elite crew for people who win back-to-back. I think there's only, 4 or 5 back-to-back winners at this point.
Stone Cold,
Stone
Cody.
Cold, Hogan, Cody, and...
That might be it.
Michaels.
Michaels, yeah.
Michaels did in 95 and 96. Charlotte's kind of... It just seemed like too much of an obvious pick for Charlotte. My question coming out of this now, though, because I think the obvious choice of a match for her is Tiffany Stratton, because kind of like the new money situation, like we're going to print new money in this case rather than have her do the rubber match with Rhea that we had talked about, though I'd rather see the rubber match with Rhea. The thing that actually makes me question it is the personal stuff going on with Charlotte at this point, because in order for her to go after Tiffany, she'd have to be on SmackDown, which is also now where her ex-husband is.
That was going to be one of the questions I asked you guys. Let me park that one for just a second. And I will say, like, I'm looking at this list of names, and like, who would you rather have won? I had Io in here, which I really like the idea of Io versus Rhea at Mania. I thought that would have been a great Mania match. But between these, like, was anybody really rooting for Liv at this moment in time? As like, not that we're rooting against her, but she's been champion for a minute. I don't think anyone was really rooting for Nia. There's a lot of younger people on here. I'm just like flipping through. Maybe Bianca.
I feel like Bianca wasn't a choice. Like, it's funny because they're like, oh, she's a favorite. I was like, I don't think she is this year.
I don't think, like, WWE wasn't rooting for Bayley because they would have just left her off the posters. Maybe Jordan Grace, but I feel like that's pushing her too quick. Alexa Bliss just got back.
That's the only one that I feel like I would have loved to have seen, because we would never have seen it coming. We didn't even know she was getting re-signed, type of thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that she got the new contract, and then if they had her win on top of it, I think that would have been really cool. I think Liv had her time in the sun, and they're going to try to push her and Raquel towards the tag team titles right now.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That gives you a lot more star power in that tag division now too, because you have Liv and Bianca going at it. And then Naomi is still a star for the most part, and Raquel is finally coming back into her own as well. So, like, now I think that is the better option for them right now. But I think the only one that I would have realistically, I would have hoped for would have been Alexa at this point.
Alexa, I liked Io, particularly when I saw her come out first, and I was like, oh, now I really hope that she comes out in the top 2. And she wins the whole thing. That'd have been nuts. And like, Io fits that bill.
She does. She fits the wire to wire person.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to. I swear I'm gonna go back to your question there in a second. Hound, who do you want to see Charlotte cash in on?
I'm still gonna stay with the Rhea thing. I think at this point, the amount of time invested in Rhea, she is a bona fide mega star.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Charlotte doesn't need the title right now. And I think that win for Rhea does a lot, because Rhea could lose the title shortly after that, but it doesn't change the fact that she's got the winning record at Mania over the winningest women's champion of all time. So I think that's a good thing right there. If they're going to do the Tiffany thing, I don't see a world where Tiffany keeps it over Charlotte right now, and I don't want that for her, because I want Tiffany to... It's one of those situations where Tiffany's title run can very easily become either the title makes the champion or the champion makes the title. And I would really like to see where the champion is making the title with her, because she's got everything for it. I think if you kill it too quickly, it might be hard to get her back to that.
I don't know if I agree with that assessment, because she is really over. And losing to Charlotte, I think, will be more damaging to Charlotte than it will be to Tiffany, because like, it's like, oh, here comes Charlotte. Lol. As you mentioned. Steven, to answer your question, I think that Charlotte has absolutely no problem going to SmackDown. I think she's probably a pretty good professional. Andrade, professional. Is it going to be awkward or whatever? We have no idea about their personal lives. I don't know if anyone saw this coming. So I don't want to get into any of the personal stuff, but I'm assuming that those two are just consummate professionals, and I wouldn't worry about them being on the same show. There's a lot of backstage area if they need to avoid each other.
That is true. They work in big arenas.
I was all for Charlotte versus Tiffany when we made predictions. And then I watched Raw this week. And I don't know if you guys had watched Raw yet, but Charlotte comes out to cut her promo, and I feel like they don't even boo her. They nothing.
They groan.
Yeah,
they groan.
It was quiet at points of being like, oh, hi, welcome back. You know, when you see that person you don't like, you give them the weird tap hug where you don't actually touch. That's what that felt like.
Yeah, that ass out hug.
Oh.
You give the hug when your ass is sticking out too.
I didn't know that they told you that we were hanging out tonight. Who invited Charlotte? Who did that? And I feel like she was a baby face to start that promo, and she was like, well, I guess I got to start turning heel mid promo. And I know that she was going to face off with Rhea, but I feel like the gorilla position's like, Rhea, get out there, go now, please, go save her, because Cleveland does not love this. Technical difficulties. Like I was saying, Charlotte, someone sending Rhea down to go to Charlotte to save her, I think might have been almost from the hip booking of all right, well, Charlotte's probably going to end up turning into a heel. Let's have them go against Rhea. We can have Rhea do everything that Hound said of giving Rhea that rubber match and really propelling her as the next monster, because they really set Rhea up in a big way to be the unstoppable force right now. The way that they built up Liv, and then in my mind, I think Rhea just kind of squashed her down. So they had a great match and all, but that was a strong Rhea victory over Liv. That's my 2 cents on how that's changed. We'll see what happens next. Mania, I dare you guys to pick the 2 nights of Mania right now, because I feel like we have no idea what's going on that card at this point in time. There's so much work to be done.
And there's so many paths they could take at this point. So many.
Any other things for the Women's Rumble?
I don't think so.
Do we say it all?
I think we said it all.
The only other thing I would like to mention is the reception Jordynne Grace got. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with her, and that rolling Death Valley driver she hit Piper with. Jordynne Grace is a monster. She
almost eliminated herself.
Yeah.
She almost bounced off the mat over the top rope.
Actually, I'm glad you brought it up, Jordynne Grace, because did you see Bianca's kind of heel moment during that?
Mm-hmm.
When she went to hug jealousy. Naomi and grabbed Jordan, snatched her up by her weave type situation.
Oh.
That one was funny. I love the seeds of jealous Bianca.
Yeah, the seeds of discontent have been sown.
We're getting some of those seeds.
She kind of showed a little bit of it with Bayley back when Bayley started teaming with them, not so overtly. So I feel like they could play on that, and I like that long-term storytelling, folks.
Long-term.
So, for the next match, which did not go nearly as long as Hound wanted to see it, was DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Fellas, what do you think? Steve, what do you think of this match?
I thought this match was amazing, actually. I really, really like this match. I am not surprised that I like this match. Not just because I picked the right choice on this one, but I knew I was going to like this match anyway. DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns are two teams that can go. Hound said it during the preview. It wouldn't have mattered which way we set up these four guys. Either way, the teams would have been like. Either way, the match was going to be amazing, and I like the ending of it too, where there's the seeds of the Profits going heel, real heel.
So my favorite part of the whole thing was actually the lead up for the first fall, and it was the fake out tag leading into that leaping knee from Ciampa. I thought that was a brilliant moment right there.
Brilliant.
The only thing I don't like about the 2 out of 3 falls is it's always quick fall. Now here's your match.
Yeah.
Let's just have the one match instead of having to have these, 2-3 second break spots in between, and then having to have the announcer be like, Team X has 1 fall, Team Y has 1 fall. What will happen now? Why don't just have the one match?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and that's not what I wanted to see at all either. I was like, in my mind as I fantasy booked, I was like, is there a way they can get a simultaneous fall for that first one, or just something different than let's make sure we get a fall in the first 3 minutes. Let's get a fall here. 14 minutes for this match was not nearly long enough for my liking. 14-minute flat. I think I said I thought it was going to be 16 to 18 minutes. Hound, did you say 18 to 22, 18 to 20?
Yeah, I think I said between 18 and 25 because I really thought that they were going to need to fill a little bit of time, and I was hoping that they would do that because those 4 are incredible.
There was a lot of really good spots in this. Really creative tag team wrestling. I will say that false tag might have been my favorite tag team move of all times.
Yeah.
That was such great ring psychology, things that they clearly talked about before. I thought that this was a masterclass in tag wrestling, even though it was that short. Steve, I get where you're coming from about the Profits going heel, but man, was that such a buzzkill that's how this match ended. So we have a rubber match max, but we want to make sure that there's no question in who the better one is. So we'll make it 3 falls where each one of them gets a quick fall, and then we botch the ending with interference. Oh well. Thanks, fellas.
They're just going to have these 3 teams, orbiting each other right now for a little while, and there's worse things in the world than it because you're just going to get a bunch of stuff. Honestly, with the way the Profits looked at the end of it, I'm kind of hoping the Profits come out the other side and get a little bit of a dominant run, and they almost keep DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns at bay until Motor City gets it back, and it's like one of those. The crowd's super into it, like back when DIY beat FTR to win the NXT tag titles. The crowd was emotional behind it, and I think they could kind of build a story with this around the Motor City Machine Guns and get that same thing happening.
I think the problem is that these are the only 3 valid tag teams right now, it feels like.
They absolutely are.
It's not
because
it's not
Pretty Deadly has nothing. So unless and 8 Town Down Under is on Raw now, so
yep,
you're kind of just stuck with this. So unless
do we get Tama Tonga and Tongaloa popping in here somewhere?
No, because Tongaloa is going to be out for way too long for this for them to really make this a real run. Because was it his bicep or his bicep? Right, he tore.
Yeah, he tore his bicep.
I was going to say his pec for a second, but either way,
he was hanging his arm for a while. It was bicep or tricep. It was one of the two. It was where his arm was hanging limp. I feel like sometimes those injuries heal quicker with just the right surgery. I don't know. I know what CM Punk was it his pec that he tore?
Tricep.
his tricep.
He tore
that's
it, yeah.
Forever. But he's also
and that was his second one.
So, the older you are, the longer it takes for everything to heal.
But I mean, Cody, because Cody tore his pec, and that was about almost 9 months.
Was it not? He wrestled. That looked gnarly.
Because he tore it in May or June, and then so it was about, I think it was 7 months, because then he was back for the Rumble, and that was his first time back.
But this tag team match was great. I just wish we got like a real finish, and like they even made the Motor City Machine Guns look like they were going over, and so like that even gives more of a question to this whole thing. So we'll see where it goes next. Anything else for the tag team titles?
Should have been longer. I agree.
Should have been longer.
I didn't predict the time with you guys because I was already nervous it was going to go this short. I actually thought I was nervous it was going to go shorter because I think when we did the preview episode, we weren't aware that it was going to be 2 out of 3 falls originally.
Yeah, we didn't mention it at all. I don't know when that was announced. I must have missed it somewhere along the lines. It might have been announced,
I think, on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Which was the day or two after we recorded.
So then we have the very disputed WWE Championship match between Cody Rhodes, the champion, if you want to call it that, versus Kevin Owens, who, if I don't know if you guys have heard, was right.
Canadian Dream.
Canadian Dream in a ladder match. What'd you guys think of this match overall?
All right. I thought the match was good. I thought it hit the parts it needed to for a ladder match. I'm not going to talk about the finishing spot just yet because I'm sure that everybody's going to have something they want to say about it because there's a picture of it where you're like, oh, no, he's dead. Nobody can superplex Kevin Owens. I don't know why people try to because every time they get Fisherman Buster off it and that Fisherman Buster to that ladder.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, well, Cody's dead now. I love Kevin Owens' shirt, Canadian Dream, the son of a security systems tech, or whatever it says. It's the greatest shirt of all time. Yeah, and then the final shot after the match was over, I think really confirmed the cracking of the mask for Cody because obviously Cody won, but when he was standing and you've got KO on the ground and Cody behind him, and it was very villainous when he was standing above him with the 2 titles, and I think that was a very good cinema shot. But the match itself was good, brutal. I got to give Cody credit. I didn't realize that he was as gnarly as he is. And I should have when he wrestled with his entire body being bruised in a Hell in a Cell. I was like, no, hit me in it. So I don't know why I'm ever surprised when Cody does something really dumb, like getting Fisherman Bustered across the ring onto a ladder.
That's rough.
And then Kevin Owens taking that back body drop on the ladder, standing up sideways. Oh, and then the baby ladder too. Greatest part of the whole thing.
That wasn't a back body drop, was it? It was the Alabama Slam.
That was the
finish. But
Cody body dropped him onto that ladder, and I was just like, no. Like I was sitting here with my older brother, and when he did that, I was like this, like no, that's bad.
Like fries were done a lot in this match.
Yeah, yeah.
What'd you think, Steve?
I echo Hound sentiment on this. I thought this match was brutal. I thought they did their job. They played their notes. They played the song correct. To add on to Hound, speaking of Cody's mask cracking, not just the scene of him standing on the turnbuckles with both belts and like looking down at KO, but the fact that he came back around just to stand on the table.
Yeah, that's the shot I was referring to.
Okay, so because the first one is him looking down from the turnbuckle even, and when he's looking down at it, he's looking down at KO in disgust. Like, I don't care that I did that. He deserved it. Whether he did or he didn't, that's not the babyface thing. No,
He's
because he's right.
betrayed.
I will say this. One of the things that Owens has done in the last few weeks and the last couple matches that he's had, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but he changed up his gear. He's wearing actual long tights now, which is not the normal Kevin Owens thing. And I think that was in an attempt to be like, well, I'm not just the guy wearing shorts and the cool t-shirt now, so maybe you won't cheer me as much. They're not cheering him anyway, but we are.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Because he's right. And Cody's a heel. Vice President Rhodes.
I have two critiques. One for the wrestlers and one for the fans. First one is, I hate that when you have a ladder match, I feel like you have to go into the crowd.
Yeah, like, that's annoying.
Stay with the ladders. There's no ladders out there. Like, there's no belts above the ring, above the fans. That's where you're supposed to be. Falls Count Anywhere match, that's what that's meant for. I Quit match, no rules apply, whatever you want to call it. Those things have that. Stay with the ladders. Fans, it's a ladder match. Why are we chanting for tables? I know everybody likes a good table, but there's no need for them. This is not a TLC match. This is a ladder match. Let's leave the tables where they're supposed to be as well. That's always fans' first thing. Like, let's get tables. It's like, Devon's gone. Let's leave that alone, and then we'll leave the tables where they are and use them when they're needed. Star of the match for me, the little itty bitty ladder. Man, oh man, it was so cute.
Did you see this?
So itty.
When Owens climbed on top of it, jumped down and then punched Cody.
They used that masterfully in this. I don't know. It had no business being there. I don't know what it did for anybody. It was just someone saw that ladder and was like, do you know what would be funny? Everything I do with this.
Yeah, I'll tell you who saw it. Kevin Owens saw it. And
Pat McAfee the whole time wouldn't shut up about the baby ladder, and he was popping on commentary for the little ladder. Oh, God, Pat McAfee's the best.
I wouldn't be surprised if Owens snuck that out there, without didn't tell anybody. Didn't even tell Cody. It's like, hey, I got something. Don't worry.
It'd be fine.
I'm not hitting you with something that I'm not warning you about too bad. Because there comes the jumping off the ladder and punching in the face.
Kevin has this sense of humor that just rings all the bells for me. I was watching when he was going to be in the Money in the Bank match when Braun Strowman was there. I don't know if you guys remember this. When he's asking Kurt Angle if they're going to raise the Money in the Bank briefcase up higher when Braun Strowman's going there because it's unfair because he's so much taller than everybody else. Absolutely kills me. And he's like, that's blatant favoritism right there. Like, that ladder fits that sense of humor for me. Exactly that. It just hits me right here, right in the funny bone.
Or what was it when he ran to make the tag, but he ran around the outside of the ring and slid under and tagged whoever. I think it was Orton. He tagged him. He's like, ha ha! Look what I did.
This match was good. I wouldn't say it's my favorite ladder match of all times. But it was a solid representation. I think I got in my head too much that I wanted to see each one of them take down a belt. Like, that's why you hang two belts up there. I wasn't ready for the Cody Owens feud to be over. It was just too good. It still had so much life, and I hope that they're still doing stuff with it. It's not just the end. I know that for those of you, we're not going to review Raw this week, but at the end of Raw, so spoilers, earplugs if you haven't heard it. But Kevin Owens comes out and package pile drive Sami Zayn. So looks like we're going to be getting that feud coming up.
Chapter 300 of that.
Yeah, that never gets old. In my opinion, I love the two of them going at it, but at the same time, I wasn't ready for Kevin and Cody to to be done. This is, in my mind, Cody's only good feud post Roman. AJ Styles is fine. Solo is fine. This is fantastic, and I don't want to end yet.
I'm with you on how good it was, but I mean, it was a pretty definitive end. I mean, there was a shot when Cody Alabama slammed him through that ladder where it looked like Kevin Owens didn't have a head anymore.
Yep. But that's what I mean. It's definitive. Like this I'm not ready for it to be over, but here we are.
I mean, I sent you guys the picture that one of the wrestling Instagram pages posted where it's like, homie's over here taking this move, and I slept the wrong way. Now I can't turn my head left. Like, what the hell, man?
It's repetition of getting your ass kicked like that.
Man.
Curious where Cody goes. I hope he still keeps cracking. I have a nice storyline for you guys for that later. But anything else for the world title?
I'm ready for the Winged Eagle to go away again now, even though it's way better than the current one, but I would rather see them make a new Winged Eagle and kind of get rid of the giant W.
I'm with you. I mean, I'll take the old Winged Eagles as well, but redesign. I've never been the biggest fan of this design.
Yeah.
All right, so going into the men's Royal Rumble, at a whopping hour and 20 minutes. There's the women's was an hour and 10, men's was an hour and 20. There's your 30 minutes that you could have given part of that to DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns. Just saying, another 5 minutes just taken out somewhere. It could have been nice. This one, we started off with Rey and Penta. I had Penta coming in number 1, which I feel like he was like telegraphed for that spot to like start this thing off hot. WWE's pushing them. Did not see him as the Iron Man. But Hound, what did you think of this match?
I thought this was you could argue this is the best men's Royal Rumble of all time, simply because of the amount of story it told. Jacob Fatu is not real. I'm convinced he's not an actual real human. He's terrifying. The Joe Hendry popped me at home. I was so excited when I heard say his name. I was like, oh my gosh, my brother was like, who's that? And I'm like, he is the greatest of all time. He's not, but he is. Like, he's like, why is he the greatest of all time? I'm like, because you say his name and he appears. I believe in him.
Because he got over.
Big toothy Scottish Beetlejuice that he is.
I know. Listen. If anybody says that they successfully picked this winner, they did it retroactively, because there's nobody, unless it was like drawing names out of a hat and you drew that and you're like, really? Like, I got to go with this. Yeah, it was really good. I thought the interaction between Seth and Roman on the outside was good, except for when Seth curb stomped him and used 2 feet to curb stomp him into the floor. And I was like, that's actually attempted murder, Seth. Like, stop it.
I think Roman walks away with a real concussion there.
Yeah. There was definitely something there.
He's gonna need at least a week to clear out the cobwebs.
Well, I mean, it's Roman. We're not going to see him for a month and a half anyway.
No, but but this time it's needed.
And then when he comes back, it's going to be a 40-minute entrance.
I love it. Braun Breaker had an incredible showing. I thought the interaction with him and Roman in there, and Braun hitting that the spear looked nasty on Roman. They made that look really good.
That was great.
And then Roman showing kind of the wily veteran move, because like in that moment, it could have conceivably, okay, Braun's eliminating Roman, but does it seem telegraphed? Sure, but it's good, and it plays into what you said, where Braun learns from his mistakes.
Yeah.
So next time, I could almost see if we get to that same thing in the Rumble, him reversing Roman next year and tossing Roman out same way.
Oh, I hope they do that. Take a screenshot of that right now. I hope they do that so hard.
Well, and to go along with that, Hound, that is the way Roman got eliminated the first time, too. So it's Roman learning from the original mistake that he made. So now with Showtime's idea of Braun learning from his mistakes, it would be amazing if he did it next year to either Roman or someone of that
Not
caliber.
my idea. That's what I see. Like, I like to predict things and fantasy book. It's just what I'm seeing on the screen.
Well,
like
that's what I'm saying. Is what
acts.
you've said this whole time.
Yeah.
It would be great if he did it to Roman, or it has to be someone of Roman's caliber that doesn't do next year.
That and I think my single favorite moment that happened though in the whole thing, well, two of them. One was Sheamus standing in the corner while Joe Hendry did his thing, just smiling, just a giant Irish smile. And then when Joe Hendry attempted to fight Jacob Fatu and Sheamus scolded him, he's like, "Why? I was enjoying that. Why do you hate fun?" Which was just fantastic. And when Penta hit that Mexican Destroyer on Jacob Fatu, that I was just, because it happened so fast, and I was like, they are so good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing those two hook it up because of Penta's whole like zero fear with that Seto Miedo thing. I wouldn't mind seeing them two hook it up for a while either.
Just to chime in on my favorite things, I don't know if you guys noticed, but John Cena, it's so hard not to call him John Cena. John Cena headbutted Jey, and after he headbutted him, he's like, "Ugh."
Yeah, sold the headbutt himself because he headbutted a Samoan.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how prevalent.
And if you look, Jey no-sells it.
Yeah, and like, I don't know how prevalent it is anymore, but that's old school, and John Cena went for it and learned his lesson quick. I don't know. Hey, it's just known they have the hardest heads in wrestling. Steven, what was your initial reaction to this?
I like Hound said, no one had the winner of this on their bingo card. No one picked this. I love the fact that no one picked this. I also love how organically that man is over. And
we haven't said who it is yet.
We have not said. So I don't want to bury that lead just yet. There are other things that go along with this Royal Rumble that I really liked as well. One of them is the Karrion Kross effect. I don't know if anyone's seen the backstage stuff that Karrion Kross did during this Rumble, but it's him yelling at Sammy for not like taking advantage of a situation, and like he's staring at it, going, "No, win! Do what you need to do! Eliminate him!" And like you could see he's getting mad. Which I know that they're starting this run with him and with Sammy and Owens at this point. I still want to see him and see Sammy and Karrion Kross go at it at this point to really complete the Kross effect. And my other point that I really, really like is that Hound got so mad when Chad Gable came out at number 3.
Dude, like, of all things, oh, Chad Gable will be number 3. It's like, okay. It's... And then didn't somehow we got, I mean, all of us between our picks, we had everybody out there except for Jey Uso within like the first 5 people.
Yeah, and we all chose Jey, right?
I think so. We all chose Jey. We all chose
Jey in the top 2.
But in like the first 4 people outside of like Rey Mysterio, we had like every one of the first 4 people.
Penta, Gable, and Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I said on camera. I think, did I say that I thought it was going to be Penta and Dom or Penta and Rey in the first 2? And then when you said Jey, I switched quickly because I was like, oh no, that feels good.
You argued with yourself about Penta. Originally you said Dom and you're like, wait, no, I don't want that. It should be Rey, because I said, I think number 30 will be meh. And you were like, well, then that could be Mysterio because that's immediately meh to me.
That, I think, I mean, I echo a lot of what you guys said. I'm going to go negative here again. I'm sorry, I don't usually go that route. But, man, there were some faces in here that I wanted to see. No R-Truth. No New Day. The New Day are so over. Like, they would have gotten the biggest boo pop in this whole thing if Xavier Woods would have come out. Like, wasted. The entire new bloodline, not here. The Wyatt 6. how is Uncle Howdy not in this Rumble? Like you couldn't fit him in over, I don't know, over. I get why they have IShow Speed in here, but you couldn't put him over Santos Escobar, Ray, Otis. I mean, maybe even the Miz. We got the Miz,
especially after you just had Alexa Bliss return.
It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, what a wasted, huge build that they had for the Wyatt Six, and then just be like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with my hands. I just don't know. So like that one really, like I was just waiting for him to come out. I'm like, is he gonna be 30? And then I realized Logan Paul hadn't been there, and I'm like, oh, I know he's coming. So I don't know. That one really just drove me crazy. That no Uncle Howdy, none of those guys made it in here. They're just floating in the abyss. I really was a little disappointed on Joe Hendry showing as well. I feel like it was like, get out there, kid. You're going to get eliminated in a couple minutes. They tried to like give him a little bit of a push when he first got there. I think they were just there for his entrance music. Once his entrance music was done, they were done with him.
You're not wrong.
Like he's a TNA champion. I would have liked to seen him do something, maybe eliminate somebody. I don't know if they're building that these battle royals and Royal Rumbles are just not his thing, which is cool. Let's build that storyline because he got eliminated immediately in the NXT one a few months ago.
Saying all that, it would have been great if Xavier Woods or Kofi was out there and then Joe Hendry appeared and he was the one to eliminate them. The crowd would have lost it.
Would have went nuts.
Or even if they eliminated him to get the extra nuclear, oh my gosh, we hate you. Like if
you took out Joe Hendry?
Yeah.
Like so much could have been done there. Like there's just a lot of people that I would like to have seen. Love to see AJ Styles return.
I was happy AJ Styles came back. That was awesome.
But that was like, is that like the only real big return?
I think during the I don't know so.
If you count Finn, because he was gone from the street fight and then came back, but I didn't expect to see Finn in this, and him showing up was great. So yeah,
I think that's the only real return.
Drew McIntyre lost his shit after the match because I don't know how much you guys heard of this, but LA Knight was kind of showboating and trying to get himself over more than the match. And it kind of ruined McIntyre's elimination by Priest, which is setting up, it seems like, Priest versus Drew at Mania, which it seems like, so I hear, Drew McIntyre's a little upset about that after the year he's had. And I agree. Like, man, in my mind, he is the MVP of this year. Like, he had the best storyline. He interwove with everybody. He was so entertaining. And let's give you a throwaway match at Mania. Now, I don't know if that's what they're really going to do. Who knows? Maybe he goes into Elimination Chamber and wins. We can only hope. But, man, what a miss.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I understand there's the wrestling math of Damian cashed in on you 1 year ago. I can finally settle my score with you, but nobody cares. I don't even think Drew cares because his whole thing is I've got to get to Roman. I've got to stop Roman. And I keep hearing people saying they're expecting some kind of a faction between Seth, Drew McIntyre. Wow, I just had a brain fart. And then there's another, and Kevin Owens, and then calling it the sword, like it's the anti-shield kind of thing. I could see it where the three of them all hate each other, but they hate Roman more. But yeah,
how we don't build to Drew McIntyre versus Roman, because I feel like you have that CM Punk Rollins heat that they can continue to build and get there. Like, I don't want to see a 4-way match at Mania with these guys. Like, let's figure out how to work this out without just the throwaway match. He lost that title to Priest. I get it, but then never paid any attention to it whatsoever. He forgot that Priest is the one that beat him and just blamed Punk.
That's completely true. Also, Showtime did talk about the stuff with him being mad about LA Knight kind of going into business for himself. I've read a couple things too that said that he wasn't the only one that complained about it.
Oh no, there was heat across the board back then.
Like there was other wrestlers that like during those eliminations that were not happy that LA Knight kind of went into business for himself.
And like he did a lot of like bigger spots and you know what, I feel for LA Knight because this US title run was supposed to be his like propulsion, and I feel like it just landed a little flat, and then losing to Shinsuke didn't really do the thing it didn't really help his cause whatsoever. And so now he's trying to figure out a way to get back in the spotlight. So I understand it, but the Rumble is, man, it's just a mess. If you mess up timing, you're going to ruin stuff for everybody. And there was 3 guys that they overshadowed. Jey almost got eliminated there. And then Priest helped eliminate McIntyre and essentially saves Jey in that situation. So, yeah, so I get it. There's always going to be heat. McIntyre always blows up after one of these matches. So
it's the best part about
that's his thing. Yeah. I was also a little disappointed that Dominic Mysterio didn't have a better showing. I think that was a real opportunity for him to kind of start being more than just this jobber. And honestly, I'm going to will that into existence.
You're still shooting for it.
I'm just going to will this thing, like if nothing
what
else.
What if Dominic starts teaming with R-Truth?
I love that, but that's already passed. They were already stablemates, Stephen.
Which one, Dom or Nick?
Both. You can never figure out which one's which. Honestly, I would love to see them team, and Dominic leaning into that, and like coming up to him like he's twins, and saying, "Hey, Dom said you wanted to talk to me. Truth, I'm Nick, and that was Dom."
And then he comes back in the mullets and a ponytail, so he's the other guy.
Yeah, and like have one double cross him and have a real strong feud with Nick, but Dom's the good guy. That would be fantastic. Like, I'm loving it right now. The headcanon is going crazy.
We got this right now.
So good. That's Mania. Handicap match. Dom and Nick Mysterio versus R-Truth.
Or R-Truth and Dom Mysterio versus Nick Mysterio.
Exactly. It'd be
oh my God, Dom got hurt. R-Truth has to go out there by himself.
It's too much. So
I want to will that into existence with you.
It's so
yeah,
good.
we're manifesting it right now. It might not be this year, WrestleMania 42. Absolutely.
Because R-Truth will still be there, looking younger than all of us. We've been very lead enough. I don't know the last time I was this surprised at the winner. And people were just yeeting all over the place. We got Jey Uso winning the 2025 Royal Rumble. This went over better for me by far than Charlotte winning. I will say I'm not happy with Peacock because they said it was the end of the Rumble, and I was going to try to rewind it because I wasn't watching live. But it was the after show, and they just kind of showed a picture of Jey winning, and it ruined the Rumble for me. Be better. Be more like Netflix. I could restart that stuff anytime. The fact that you can't rewind during a live show only so much it's Bush League. What is this? Is this 2012? Let's get it together. So he won. There's no one, in my opinion, that's more over than Jey Uso.
No.
So I don't hate this win. I just hope they stick the landing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Yeedlemania shirt.
Yeedlemania.
Yeedlemania.
I actually wouldn't mind having one for myself. Yeah, in a weird way, and like you said we're not reviewing Raw this week. I thought the Gunther coming out and basically telling Jey, if you pick me, I'm going to torture you, and then I'm going to so savagely beat you at WrestleMania that you'll never be in this position again. I think they may have just said kind of who Jey's going to pick, but I hope it goes the other way. And even I think Jey has to walk away with the title right now because we do have an organic Kofi Mania, Daniel Bryan thing happening right now. And to not cash in on this, and especially if they do it to him, with the amount of times you've put people over at his expense, like, come on now. Even if he only gets a 2-month title reign out of the deal and it's his only one, you have to do it now. And I'm so worried that if they do go with him and Cody, this is where Cody does go full Homelander and keeps the belt through nefarious means and all that other stuff. Or if they do that, it's then tying Cody back to some kind of bloodline storyline, which maybe is leading all the way to Roman challenging Jey for the title and Jey finally beating Roman and Roman handing the Ulafala to Jey.
That would be
That
cool.
would be fun. I'm with you. I do not want to see Gunther Jey again at Mania. We just got that Saturday night's main event. That's why I was so surprised that he won the Rumble. It's because he just got beat by the champion. And like, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Like, if he doesn't choose Gunther, he's running. But the yarn I said earlier that I'm going to spin for this one is it all surrounds Cody cracking. And with him and saying that he has no more friends, everyone's out to get me. And then Jey, who said on Raw that he's going to go to SmackDown to talk to Cody as well. The story could easily be, I thought we were friends. Why are you even here? Like, this doesn't make sense that you would come here. You're going to fight Gunther. And Jey's going to be like, I don't know who I'm going to fight. Like, but we're friends. Why would you try to take this from me? And Cody snaps. And that could be a catalyst for them to really get at it and really kick off what I think would be such a better match. I want to see Jey versus Cody. That I can get hyped about. And honestly, I've been rooting for Cody to lose this belt every single time, so I might as well root for him to lose it to Jey at WrestleMania.
I'll throw it to you guys this way too, and I know this is a real far-fetched one that probably won't happen. I know I said this before the end of the year, but what if Gunther loses the world title before that?
Like, does he lose to Roman?
Like, what if he loses to Drew, and then you set up Drew and Jey? It's kind of that has some legs to it too, and I'm not saying that's necessarily the better match, but it's a match that we haven't seen for the title, especially when Drew came back in and just dominated Jey during that first night of Raw, the first Netflix.
So this is what I would say to that, is that's the exact same thing that they're having with Gunther, because Jey and Drew have had a thing, and Drew had his number. Jey squeaked by on the first Raw on Netflix to get his first singles victory over Drew. But essentially at that point, you're changing a title to close the exact same storyline. And I think that I don't think Gunther's title reign has been good. I think he's been done a disservice this entire time, because I do think he's arguably the best wrestler on the planet. And at least in maybe not the best wrestler on the planet, but certainly one of my favorites. And I don't think his title reign has been given what it should be. And if you're going to have this happen now, there's something to it where Gunther can't get the victory at Mania. He drops titles at Mania, dominates everybody everywhere else, but then at that point, he's lost via count out to Chad Gable, pinned by Sami Zayn, and then pinned potentially by Jey.
Is this the reverse streak starting?
It'd be an interesting one.
At that point, he'd be what, like 1-2, 1-3, something like that.
No, he did win that triple threat.
He won the triple threat, but and I don't disagree with you, Hound, but the World Heavyweight Championship, that belt, the MO is that the title run is kind of disappointing, isn't it? I mean, look at Rollins' title reign wasn't that great. Like, I get it. It was supposed to be a workhorse title at that point, but I wasn't thrilled with his title run with it, mainly because they invented it just so that someone had a world title that wasn't Roman.
Well, that, and I was going to say, it would be hard for any world title while Roman was on the historic run to have anything other than here's the also ran title. Like, here's your participation trophy championship.
And the fact that they invented one for it too, like they created a title rather than while Roman had the two belts, somehow getting one of them off of him would have been a better option. And they could have done it in a 3-way where he doesn't look weak.
Yeah, I don't think Gunther's title run's been that bad because I'm using Priest's run as like the litmus test, and that was the worst case scenario. And so it's not a fair comparison. I definitely see what you're saying here, but I feel like that's fixed. Give this belt to Roman and have Jey beat Roman. Like, that's fun. Like, give this belt to somebody else that elevates it, because we're talking Mania here. Jey versus McIntyre does not feel like Mania. McIntyre versus Rollins felt it. Like, you have one guy that's going into that top tier, wrestling someone who's in that top tier. And I think Gunther is he's on the lower end of that, but with someone like Jey who can't get it done, the one that we've critiqued on the show countless times for being the main event but can't win a match, going in there against a monster, somebody who is absolutely dominant. I thought it was funny during the Raw segment between Jey and Gunther, where he just flipped the switch of, oh, I'm the one that I was just playing everybody, saying that I was not believing in myself for those couple weeks, but I was the whole time because I get it and I'm playing the fans. Now I'm unstoppable, Gunther. It's like, that escalated quickly. It was just a funny way that he spun that. But I think for the main event with Jey, you got to put something almost unstoppable in the way.
I'm gonna throw one last name out there, even though it's not Rock. Although Rock would be kind of cool too.
That'd be great.
It almost doesn't make sense, but at the same time, there's always this underlying thing. And again, someone who got his main event taken away, again, Punk wins the world title before Mania. And you get Punk getting his main event, and you could put Jey over. And Punk, if he goes heel, is about as mean of a heel as you're gonna get. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just looking at what could be. I'm throwing out possibilities.
I like where your head's at. He's just too tied to the Roman Rollins love triangle or whatever, hate triangle, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's what they're building towards. And I take Roman out. Like, I think Jey Roman is so perfect based on their history to like really finally get him over that hump, where I feel like you could force that one. I just don't see how you get Punk into the Jey sphere.
So I will say this, and I agree with you about somebody unstoppable, but that's kind of been Gunther. Even though his title reign hasn't been great, and that's creative, but let's think about every time Gunther has a match. I'm sorry, and there was one other person to beat Gunther. It was Cody for the Saudi title that I really want.
For the giant gaudy title.
But every time Gunther wins, it's always definitive because it gets to a point where he's like, enough now, and it's powerbomb, lariat, splash, and it's never the same thing. It's either he puts you to sleep, or he literally beats you senseless. And that's kind of been his MO, and he's done it to Jey. So you do have that built in. Yeah, so you do kind of have that built in, but I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. You know, we were very worried about last year's Mania, and it turned out incredible. So I'm going to lean on Triple H pulling something here, and it being pretty awesome.
I wasn't worried about last year's Mania. I was pumped.
Well, I'm glad you weren't, because I was like, what are we actually doing here?
I'm going to say this. I do agree with you on this, Hound. I know some of the critique that me and Showtime sometimes have for the Triple H era, the Paul Levesque era, whatever you want to call it, because it's got to be an era of WWE. Sometimes some of the stuff on the lower end of the card kind of slips through the cracks. It feels like it's slipping through the cracks, where the top of the card is amazing. The stuff with Rhea and Liv, the stuff with the Judgment Day, the stuff with the Bloodline. All this stuff is awesome, but then once you get past like the middle of the card, that stuff is all like, well, I got you on the show at least, man. Like, you were here.
Like, I got an idea. Let's have you wrestle Rey Mysterio.
Where Mania is the one situation where everything is the top of the card. Everything.
I don't know. The Jey Jimmy match last year was a wet fart.
That was, but it had storyline to it and everything like that. Like the build up for that and the anticipation for the match is what left that match being not great. That was them not holding up their end of the bargain. That's not on H not building it up.
Know that they also cut time off of them, and like they had more planned apparently, and like that was supposed to be a great match, and they just couldn't do it. So like I don't want to be too harsh on that, but I don't know. It's I'm curious where it goes. We just saw Gunther flatten Jey.
I mean, we're going to get a chance to see who he picks soon, right?
I hope it's Cody. I'm so much more excited if it's Cody. Rather than seeing Jey get his ass kicked week in and week out and then finally squeak out a win at the end.
I don't see it being Cody, but I would prefer it.
I think we're all in agreement with that. Like, we all prefer it being Cody. The only reason why I don't want it to be Cody is because I agree with you, Hound. I think if it's Cody, Cody still holds the title.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to walk out with the belt. And I'm a big believer. This is not a same situation as Cody going into either one of the last two Manias where we're like, oh, he's got to win it because no one else is going to win it. Jey is so over, and you're going to have 70-something thousand people yeeting. And then if he loses, the air is just going to be sucked out of that place.
But I feel like if Cody wins, I don't think that'll be the case either. I feel like he's still so over as well that can mitigate that. And let me spin another one for you guys. I'd much rather see Gunther face John Cena. John Cena versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Now that is a main event caliber match, and I think that will be fantastic if Gunther, particularly if Gunther goes over on John Cena. During this chase, like I said, I've said this before, like last day, I think you said the last day, Steve, but like, I don't want him to get that title anytime soon. Like, we have a whole year. It's February 4th. Like, let's make him work for it. He certainly didn't work to get into the Elimination Chamber. I love his
but I like that from I like that promo they did.
I worked my way, so I'm just gonna take a spot.
Yeah, and he admitted it, and I like everything he said about it. What I'm going to film I'm going to make a movie in Hungary. I'm giving my opponents 5 weeks to talk trash about it.
And then CM Punk did immediately.
Sounds about right.
So anything else for the Men's Rumble? About Jey, where we're going to go next? So definitely Cody versus Jey, Cena versus Gunther. You heard it here. I'm probably not first. Who knows? But that is our recap of the 2025 Royal Rumble. Legion, we appreciate you all so much. Thank you for having another fun whirl at this crazy world of wrestling with us. Like and subscribe all below. Comments, tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're too hard.
Thumbs up.
Tell us when we were too soft. as Enzo might say. We continue to do this for you guys. Send in some requests. Tell us more what you want to hear. We appreciate you all. Hound, Steven, love you guys. Thanks for keeping this fun. And Steven?
As always, guys, remember, tuck your chin when you bump.